Good, good evening from my end. Good morning, good afternoon from wherever you are around the globe. This is 1847 Liberty, and today we are talking about the need for. We're talking about fire safety in Liberia. Fire safety is something that is needed in our country, and we've seen the rise of fire incidents in our country. So, but before we do that, let's take a brief break while we sort one or two things out. Then we can get right to it. Please stay tuned. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are around the world, and welcome to 1847 Liberty. I'm Thomas Sarko, and together with my co-host Joseph Irene, we bring you insightful analysis and exclusive interviews of thought leaders from Liberia and around the world. Please stay tuned. Okay. We are coming right to it. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are around the world, and welcome to 1847 Liberty. I'm Thomas Sarko, and together with my co-host Joseph Irene, we bring you insightful analysis and exclusive interviews of thought leaders from Liberia and around the world. Please stay tuned. Okay. Liberia, our dear country, is currently facing a troubling increase in fire incidents, similar to many of its public health and safety challenges. This rise can be attributed to several factors: substandard electrical wiring in homes, unsafe practices in handling flammable gases or substances, and general lack of fire safety awareness. Increasing public education and awareness campaigns is essential to inform citizens about fire risks and safety measures, thereby helping reduce fatalities and improve response times. As a result, the number of fatalities continues to rise, leaving citizens scrambling for safety and unsure where to seek help, especially given the government's ineffectiveness when dealing with emergencies. In a recent fire accident, one victim hopelessly stated, "We're on our own. We don't have a government to protect us. Only God can save us." Now, according to latest WHO data, fire casualties in Liberia accounted for 100 or accounts for 153 deaths, or 0.45% of total deaths. The age-adjusted death rate is 3.65 per 100,000 of the population, ranking Liberia number 35 in the world. Now, as I have consistently pointed out in my previous segments, our government's failure to engage in proactive planning and preparedness to prevent and respond to not only fires, but also other unforeseen public health and public safety emergencies puts the entire country and its citizens at risk. Our first responders often find themselves playing a game of catch me if you can with natural disasters and accidents, including flooding, pandemics, fires, and motor vehicle accidents. Unfortunately, Liberian first responders primarily rely on a reactive approach to incidents as they occur and lack the tools to respond effectively to these emergencies. This underscores the need for a shared commitment to proactive planning that can foster confidence and reassurance among citizens. Recent fire incidents highlight the urgent need for investment in comprehensive training programs that for first responders and community awareness initiatives for citizens. The government should also prioritize the procurement and installation of vital infrastructure such as fire hydrants on every block in local communities to enable first responders to address fire emergencies more effectively. These tangible investments will significantly improve emergency response capabilities and reduce fire-related fatalities. To prevent incidents, the government should incorporate emergency drills into the school curriculum and ensure regular safety inspections of schools, colleges, and public buildings. This will help citizens feel reassured that safety is a continuous priority and that proactive measures are in place. Furthermore, the government should formulate and enforce strong ordinances regarding safety standards. All buildings, both public and private, must undergo periodic safety inspections, and violators should face fines. And non-compliant public spaces and facilities should be closed until remedial steps are completed. Strict enforcement mechanisms will ensure consistent safety compliance nationwide, effectively reducing fire risks and safeguarding citizens. Now, joining me today are an expert panel, which I will be introducing right after this one. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are around the world, and welcome to 1847 Liberty. I'm Thomas Sarko, and together with my co-host Joseph Irene, we bring you insightful analysis and exclusive interviews of thought leaders from Liberia and around the world. Please stay tuned. Okay, so joining us today are Mr. Charles E. King. Mr. King has many years of experience working in law enforcement and criminal justice. He also is an experienced fire safety professional. Also joining the panel is Liberty senior contributor from Liberia, author and public policy analyst, or specialist, I would say, Mr. Joseph Akwezize. And making his debut appearance is a civil engineer with many years of experience working at the Liberia Electricity Corporation, Mr. Carnley Lee. Gentlemen, welcome to 1847 Liberty.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure once again being on this show.
Okay, before we get into it, again, we'll take this one. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are around the world, and welcome to 1847 Liberty. I'm Thomas Sarko, and together with my co-host Joseph Irene, we bring you insightful analysis and exclusive interviews of thought leaders from Liberia and around the world. Please stay tuned. Okay, right after this one. Gentlemen, I wear many hats: producer, cameraman, presenter, and everything. So please bear with me.
You multitasking.
Please bear with. Okay, gentlemen. Now let's begin with. Anybody who's comfortable to go with this question can get right to it. We want to look at some remedies, steps that we can take, some proactive remedies that we can recommend to policymakers or public officials in Liberia to help curtail this ever increasing fire incidents in our country. So the first question has to do with the contributing factors. So what, gentlemen, do you believe are the main factors contributing to the rise in fire incidents in our country?
Okay, let me take that, and the two experts can add, throw more light, so forth. So, in my own assessment so far, I will attempt to attribute that to number one, apparent poor electrical wiring engineering. In our country, many persons, the first thing to observe is that our youth now are embarking into the vocational training. But if you if you do a survey, you notice that most of them are into it because of the little, cash they can get. Like people say, um, vocational. I mean, like trained persons through vocational school always don't lack cash. So as a result, they don't really put their mind to learning the electricity. So as a result, sometimes they learn halfway and just do hazard or have hazard works on people's homes. So as a result, you have electric shock and so forth. So that would be an apparent pull or electrical wiring engineering. Then another one you look at is the use of substandard wiring in homes, the use of low grade wires in homes. Okay, so this is attributed to our position as low income earners. Sometimes the high grade wires, there are different prices, and people, our culture is that as soon as we start to see ourselves as responsible persons, we tend to build our own houses. So as a result, the little you have exhausted, because those areas are the finishing touches, and in construction, and people can blame me that in construction, the finishing touches are the most expensive one. So as a result, when you are drilling down on your resources needed to construct your house, so the little you have, you want to miss on it. So as a result, you get a low grade wiring to wire your house, and you after some time you see that it starts experiencing shock, corrosion, and so forth. So some of the things can cause electric spark. Then you look out fault in the supply of electricity from uh, um, um, Liberia, or the Liberia electricity in Africa. So sometimes too, I don't know the budget to do classical supply of electricity is so huge. So people tend to prioritize, and as a result, it means here and there. So you don't have the adequate, I mean, the right equipment, or the accessories need to have a very stable and safe supply of electricity. So and again, we could say suspected arsonist action or misdemeanors. People want to get at each other, so they do petrol bomb or some kind of clever way that cannot be detected. Yeah, even if you conduct investigation. In our case, in the Liberia case, our investigators are not, equipped enough to determine. Like the incident that happened recently at Duboro, it is my understanding that LAC ruled out any electrical fault. So the next thing is, what do you think? So the most probable cause could be some misdemeanor, arsonists getting at the victims. So yeah, so those are the key things in my view, are contributing to this kind of rising in fire incidents across the country.
Thank you very much, Mr. Zeze. From your analysis, I gather uh, 2 points. One has to do with faulty wiring. And on a faulty wiring, we have a substandard materials, and we substandard and cheap materials. So, and the other side has to do with a misdemeanor. So, thank God we have two experts in the studio to tear that apart. But first, we'll start with you, Mr. Leah, giving you your extensive career as an electrical engineer. Uh, what do you think?
So first of all, I haven't had the privilege to read some reports from the National Fire Service to establish causes of fire, recent fire in the country.
Mm-hmm.
But from my experience, when I was in Liberia, we had issues with customers at the time not having standard wiring. We saw back then that customers were using different size of conductor or wires, and they were coupling them in a way that using also plastic material to couple two different sizes. So what happens when you couple two different sizes of wire is that the smaller wire going to be sized with the opposite of breaker. So what that means is that in your panel box, if you size, let's say take for instance, the smaller wire is number 6, all right, and you have number 4, and that number 6 current carrying capacity, that thing for instance is about 40 amps, and then number 6 is about 50 amps, and you want to size the breaker with a bigger size, right? So the smaller size of wire is supposed to carry the opposite of breaker. So
Mm-hmm.
if you have an inrush current, because the breaker is not sized size rightly, you're going to have that inrush cascading over to your home, burning the wires, and also the PVC, the piping system. If you use plastic material,
Mm.
current electricity is a flow of electron, and that causes heat, right? So you're going to have that because the wire is undersized and have a more current capacity. It's going to burn a wire. So a couple of factors. Another thing would be the grounding system, right? So it was a customer house or home wire or grounded, okay, that could also help to prevent electrical shocks or electrical fire. Another thing, the regulatory body needs to come up with standards for meeting LEC connection. Those are stuff that we used to do. We used to go in the field and inspect customer homes as to whether they were wired according to LEC standard. And we had inspectors going in and having certificates. So we had a whole checklist, all right, to see as to whether your home meets EDC standard. That is, you have to have a transfer switch, your home has to be grounded, your system has to be converted to 50 hertz because post-war Liberia, we had to convert our system from 60 hertz to 50 hertz, right? So you have to change your wiring system to make sure that conform to EDC new system, which is 50 hertz or 230 or 400 volts.
Okay.
So these are issues. I don't know about the system right now, but I think the regulatory body needs to come up with standards that will guide people on how to wire a house, to make sure your house is grounded, make sure you have the right size of breaker, the right size of wire. You don't have two different wiring material. You don't have different wire sizes coupled together that could cause electrical fire, it could cause electrical shorts, and all of that. Equally so, the National Fire Service also needs to establish causes of fire, right? If a fire incident occurs, they need to come out and say, okay, we inspected, and from our inspection, this is what we observe, and come back to the public. The public will appreciate the kind of information, all right? Not just coming back to the public, but equally so, you have to create awareness, right? Okay, steps to avoid fire, you know what I'm saying? So, and also training, right? Like,
yeah, we're gonna come to that. Yes.
let me refer you to Lone Star Head Office. I believe 1 or 2 weeks ago, right? Lone Star Head Office got on fire, and I was watching the response time. Right, the response time is way too slow. They get on site. The guys, the first thing I observed, the guys are not properly dressed. The
Okay.
the PPE, the protective gears, they don't have the required protective gear. They take forever to disembark from the vehicle to get the hose out to start the generator on the truck and all of that. So they need proper training.
Yeah,
So
and another thing too that could make their work easy is to have fire hydrants installed on every block, every block in the communities, because I noticed that they have to transport water to the site, which is really
yeah, so
backward. In the 21st century, we're still doing that. So yeah, I agree with you, Conley. Let's bring onto the stage Mr. King. Or Mr. King, what's your take on
Thank you.
this question? Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Zizi and Mr. Leary. You can hear me, Mr. Lear?
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. I would just like to correct something, Mr. Sako. As a fire safety director training that I received in New York City, we worked in understanding high-rise building, hotel, motel, building security, and fire safety. We understand the pressure, we understand the water supply necessary, but that is the fire. I'm not a firefighter, but I understand and supervise fire safety directors, and I had the training for those type of categories. Now, what I want to say is, Mr. Lee, it is important that you mention something, which is educating the public. The fire safety the fire safety organizations, they have enough people to go around and set up a program to inspect buildings, homes, without going in to penalize anyone. They should be going in to advise the homeowners. And they should do this for the first maybe 1 year. They should make it an opportunity, a practice to go into every business organization. Because before the war, we had fire extinguishers in homes. We had fire extinguishers in buildings. We had fire extinguishers in vehicles. So this is what is necessary. And the fire department should make that as part of the fire safety education services and prevention programs in the country. Now you have to have, and I've been interviewed on this before. You cannot just take anyone to become a fire safety director. I'm sorry. The person has to understand the dynamics of the firefighting initiating and also how to fight it. Okay? This is what has to be done. And unless Liberia authorities get serious about this, we will continue to have this problem. Number one. Number two, let's go back in time. Remember that school system, that school that had 30 some of children burned in a fire? Can you all remember that was somewhere in Painesville, one of those eras?
Yeah.
Do you remember, Mr. Saku? Mr. Leah, do you remember?
Yeah, yeah.
30
Yes,
some
yes,
of
of course.
students,
I do.
35
Awesome.
human lives. What has become of it? Tell me. I've mentioned also and recommended that the fire bars, the security bars at window is a death trap. There's another way to keep fire those window bars within the room so that it can be unleashed in case there's a fire so people can exit. But we still do not want to listen, because the people who are in Liberia who should listen to people who are experienced, they don't. When, if I'm not mistaken, the fire took place at the former speaker, I think Kofa, one of their homes. I made a recommendation. I wrote and I commented. Instead of the large fire department buses, get smaller fire department units. But you have to remember also now, water is a conductor of electricity. Isn't that right, Mr. Lee?
Sure, a good conductor.
Yes, I
So if
agree.
you're using water for an electrical fire, you can
Yeah, through
electrocute yourself. So these are things
electrolytes.
that
Yes.
these are things that have to be understood. But as long as, I will repeat it again, and anybody can quote me, as long as the people in Liberia are not verifying and getting the people there to hook up with people like us who are in the diaspora, who knows better, because I've worked in Liberia before, I have my own business, we will continue to have this problem. What's the problem with them getting together, contacting those people who are in the diaspora? We don't want jobs from them. Y'all cannot even pay me. So I don't want jobs. But Mr. Leah is here. He can give advice. Ask us some ideas. This is how people go together and create something. You have to send people from America to come determine if something is a gasoline fire, electrical fire. Come on, man. That's ridiculous. And I will repeat it again. It's ridiculous. I'm not here to win a popularity contest. We're not getting serious with this thing. There was another gentleman on one program who was a firefighter in Boston. He went to Liberia. He was on the radio program and I said, tell the truth, man. The fire safety people need training, number one. Yes, Mr. Lee, they need training. Mr. Zize, yes, they need training. They also need to be exposed to people who will give them ideas. You're supposed to go into the community. Now, right away, you want to go into the community. Okay, so we're going to go into the community to find those people who are in violation. No, go into the community to teach and educate the people. Go to their homes. Give them a security survey, fire safety survey of their building, of their homes, and say, this is what you need to improve. Give it to them, let them sign and receive it. Now, when the house go burn down, then we know who to hold responsible. They have to take an active part. Mr. Leah already mentioned the size of the wire. I mean, those are all those things that I went through. I'm not a firefighter. I don't want no one to say, oh, Coach King is a firefighter. I'm not a firefighter. You see? But I've worked with all this organization in New York City. And if you can work in New York City with high-rise building fire, you can work anywhere. But again, I'm not an expert in firefighting. So we have smoke detectors, smoke alarms, fire safety, fire extinguishers, A, B, and C, and D fire. Not just any water, you can put an electrical fire or any type of a fire. So this is the education process that is needed. Now, lastly, when Howard Security, my company, was operating in Liberia, we had smoke alarm detectors. In different clients that we work with, we monitored fire and smoke detectors, should I say smoke detectors, from our places of business. So the private security organizations now in Liberia, if they had any sense of professionalism, they would be bringing in smoke detectors and selling them. Not cheap smoke detectors now. I'm saying quality people, quality things, man. That's how you do it. But now it's not just, okay, here's a smoke detector, put it in. Mr. Lee is smiling because he knows too, and Mr. Zizi. You don't just, okay, put the smoke detector out. No, it's not just buying any cheap thing, because you know we have in our community people cooking at night, people cooking in the day. So the smoke comes in and detects. So you have to analyze the quality of the smoke detectors you're getting. And when in homes, you have to analyze also. But again, I'm going to stop here so my other colleagues can chime in and add, and then I can come back later. But this thing about 30 plus 30 children dying, in fire. And look at this recent one that the
Whole
mother and her
family,
2 children. It is
an entire family.
ridiculous.
Hmm.
Ridiculous for that to happen. People stay in the home and can't get out and look at that blaze. But no one's gonna think, oh well, the fire service, we have this, we have that. Come on, man, y'all got enough money there to be spending the proper infrastructure, should I say equipment. Those small vehicles should be equipped not only with water, but should be equipped with the proper extinguishers, the A,
Yeah,
B, and C type fire
yeah, they should understand the different
extinguishers.
types.
That's what they
Yes,
should
the
be
different
doing,
types.
and
Yeah,
encourage the home to get it. And this government should not charge any import duty on them. They
yes.
should not charge things like that for safety. You don't charge import duty on them. You make sure they can bring it in and bring it, because the difference between someone breaking in someone and stealing something is that when you break in someone's house and steal an item, for the most part, it can be replaced. But when a fire consumes, it consumes itself and finish. Other people are affected by that fire. Neighbors,
Yeah,
if it's in
yeah.
a building, the next door building. So it's the importance of it.
Okay,
But
Mr.
who do
King.
you have to talk to the legislatures about these things? Someone who themselves don't know? Come on, man.
We'll come right back to it. Thank you so much. That you stressed some very good points, and I wanted to add. Also, we need to decentralize the fire department. You cannot have one central fire bureau responding to emergencies all around the city. I don't even know if we have fire departments in the various counties or municipalities, but I know for a fact that in Liberia, at least for the time that I was there, we only have one department station in Center City. So that one department is responding to the entire city of over, I can say, close to 2 million or more. So that is a problem too. So that causes delay in response in responding to incidents. So if we
Mr. Sako,
decentralize that department
Mr.
and
Sako,
have a fire department in each township or community, then I think
yes,
curtailing some of these minimizing some of these
Mr. Sako,
fatalities. Yeah.
Mr. Sako,
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Sako.
Yes, sir.
Please, I would like to interject something only for this one purpose. When you
Sure.
use the words decentralized,
Yeah.
when you use the word decentralized, some of the quote unquote, some of the politicians and others who don't understand the concept may misinterpret that word of decentralization. What I think, and I'm sure that's what you mean, and this is where a fire safety person with knowledge on public safety will say, no, you have a centralized police fire service in Monrovia. Take your branches and put them in other areas.
But
So that word decentralized may
that's exactly what I
be
meant.
mistaken from
Yeah.
what I've been listening to.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
That's
Yes, it's
exactly
just
what
that
I meant,
I
Mr.
know what
King.
you meant, but
Yeah,
the other people who will hear this,
oh yes. Yeah, we need to have
that's all.
the
That's what
fire
I meant.
bureau.
It's the
Yeah.
people.
Yes, you are correct. Absolutely, we need to
Yes,
have
and we
fire
that's
bureaus or fire departments in the respective
yes, sir.
communities or localities
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
around the country, not just the
Yes, sir.
city. I need to do my research, but I don't know
Yes.
how many fire departments we have in total in the entire country. That is my next assignment. But let's move on to another interesting part of the discussion: awareness among the general public. How can we improve this, gentlemen? Who want to go first?
Again, let me go first again. So, let's some of ways, some
As
ways
a
in which we can improve the awareness. You know, once or twice, sometimes you watching national television, it just pop up,
Oh,
and
that's PTSD. Okay.
you don't hear that again on radio and so forth. You know, one more time, and you don't hear it again. But for example, one key way to improve the fire safety awareness to the general public is through the LEC community engagement. Okay, that is very key because just imagine after the Civil War, it took a long time for LEC to start permeating through the communities and even going down to, I mean, beyond the com, communities to corners something you don't expect. You see electric poles. Once you see your pole, you see wire, then you know that somebody around that area or people around that locality is receiving supply of electricity. So you go, LEC could do community engagement, go to the town halls, carry on education, demonstrate, or sometimes you show videos of fire destruction, loss of property and life, and so forth. Then you should also include or improve the fire safety measure, not only fire drills. I know some land ministry and agencies over time to conduct fire escape drill. So sometimes you'll be in your offices, you just get alarm. Then it will tell you leave your belongings on your decks and just walk easily through this way and that way. Okay, that one aspect, but only maybe few land ministry and agency, but that should also spread into the community, into homes, and people can know how to escape fire. But again, the prevention to teach people how to prevent fire, like for example, if we go along the line, you will see measures that we can use to or the government can use to prevent fires. Then of course, you sensitize a linesman or electrician in applying the ethics, of electrical shock or fire prevention. For example, a linesman goes somewhere to check the pool. You got problem on the pool. But the community, people from the community will come. Even if a linesman advises, say, look, this wire, we can use it as a Conley was saying, this wire, we can use it. But you hear people telling them, yeah, or just use it for 1 week, we'll get money to buy it, or we'll get money to buy the red one. So the application of ethics in that light is that the linesman should refuse. No, we can't do this until we get the right wire or conductor or what they call connector or so forth to put on that pole to have you connected safely. But people will convince the landsman or whosoever it is of that pole and you go again his ethics. So the 3 points are cutting in improving the awareness, LEC community engagement, inclusion of fire prevention measure, not only fire escape measure, drills that can go in some land, and of course, sensitizing the landsmen and electricians to the ethical standard, that value you hold. That if I do the work correctly, because they know the risk. If I do the work correctly, eventually it will lead to disaster. So definitely, I don't care what they offer me, they should get the right or equipment, or I should be given the right or material to do my work and ensure that people are safe from fire hazard.
Yes, agreed. Yeah, and I also add that not just the LEC, but there should be um, collective approach,
Yeah, of
interagency,
course, yeah.
entire society. Uh, Fire drills are very important. I mean, they're part of the proactive measures we talk about. But yeah, I agree with you. Not just only in those government agencies and
Fire
ministries,
escape.
but
Yeah, but at least
but in the
prevention,
high
this is good.
schools, and in
Yeah.
every sector of our society, everywhere we need to do this. We need to follow this holistic approach to what Conley and Mr. King, what do you have to add on to what Mr. Zizi just contributed?
Uh, Mr. Susie made a brilliant point, and just to add up, community outreach, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the National Fire Service has a statutory on
Oh,
that
oh,
on
mhm.
that. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry.
All
We
right.
had
To
a
make
brief.
sure that that agency uh, reaches out to the public, educating the public, especially with the frequency and wave of fire incident in the country. Right, you reach out to ELBC, via radio stations in different vernacular, uh, devising plans, strategies, steps, guidelines on how to. That's why I said from the onset, what are the reports from all of the fire incidents that had happened in the country, right? So from that, right, how many homes, how many, so you try to break it down, okay, this amount of home in this community, what caused the fire? Was it electrical? Was it something else? So you come down with statistics. I don't know whether they have a website that we can reference if we want to get some statistical reports, right,
Mhm.
in the country to say, yeah, 2023 or 2024, we have this amount of fire incident in the country. From that, we have X amount caused by electrical fire, this amount caused. So we need all kind of information. What all kind of information do is that it helps you to prevent fire. It helps you to project in the future. It helps you plan better, right? So these are things that you need to consider. On the LEC side, LEC does have trained personnel, right? So we have standards that uh, linesmen, engineers, technicians follow because electricity does two things: either get bodily harm or you are done. So you have to be extremely careful. Safety comes first, right? So you have to be extremely careful when you deal with electricity. So I think these are things that National Fire Service need to consider. They need to reach out to LEC. They need to reach out to the regulatory body. They need to come up with something. They need to educate the public, right? They need to have budget for training, adequate training, bringing experts, send people outside the country. They need logistical equipment. To fight fire is tough, all right? So the government too has an obligation to make sure that she's saving lives and property. Okay, so it's something that it has to be all hands on deck and making sure that the public is safe, the public has confidence in National Fire Service. So I think they need to do more.
Yeah, yes, all hands on deck, and I agree. Well, I agree on more. I agree that we need to invest more on a preventative side than on the response side. Because if you invest in preventing, then you will have less incidents to respond to. Yeah, but thank you very much, Mr. King. Let's uh let's hear what Mr. King has to add on to what these two gentlemen just contributed.
Where does this budgetary allotment start? Where does it start? The legislative branch of government. You know, I often hear sometimes the different representatives say when something happens, they say it's the government responsibility. It's the government, the government. Again, I must say, they are the government. Why do they start like to say the government should do this and the government should do that? They are the government. Do something about it. They, everyone that I hear seems to be the government should do something about the fire. The government should do something about the equipment, but they are the government. They're the ones that, with the advice and consent of the Senate, they approve people to be in those positions. So who's responsible here? You keep on pointing the government. They are the government. Do something about it. When the last speaker was in office, I think Speaker Kofa, correct? He had an opportunity to do something. Did he do it? I don't know. I don't know if he did something or not. The new speaker is in. Has he done something? I have no idea. So if they're doing something, I don't know. But it starts with them. And it starts with them not just accepting someone who brings in, oh, well, we're going to bring fire equipment. For example, and I'm going to divert just a quick one about the buses. You bring buses in the country for the public, and you don't make no provisions for those who are handicapped. If the buses have no provisions to help the handicapped people in, then I ask who the one that brought those buses in, and who are the people in GSA who analyze this thing and approve it to come. Oh, well, you know who? Because everybody comes around with, I got this, I got that. But who do you have there in the government to not oversee, but to look at what has been brought in? Because everybody there who bringing an object in wants to get their business through. So obviously they will bring all their friend them. Oh, that man's a good man. This is a good thing. But when he bring it to people such as Zizi, Leah, us, and others, they will say, no, this is not the proper bus you should be getting. So somebody got to go back and do their homework. But they don't want that, you see, because they bring maybe low quality equipment in. So you got to have someone who's going to be who the legislatures can rely on and who the executive can rely on. But you have people who bringing things in, they themselves have no idea. They're not public safety officials. So you say, well, Mr. King, does a person have to be a public safety person qualified like this or that person to be able to sell fire? No. You have marketing people, but you also have those marketing people who sell the trucks. They consult with experts in the fire industry. And they make sure that they get the type of equipment, fire service equipment that's necessary for a particular country. In our case, look all those different corners where the houses can be. A big fire truck cannot go in all those different little areas.
Yes.
So you got to get a small one. And then you got to get the proper equipment. Because
okay,
as I said, if you put water on an electrical fire, you'll kill yourself.
Yeah.
So all those people who
King, Mr. King, let me just follow up on your points you're making. So yeah, we understand that we need to bring in equipment, but what about training? What specific training programs you think we need to implement to better equip these first responders, so that when we get the new equipment, we'll know what to do with the equipment?
But this is what we mentioned earlier. You have education and training. I think Mr. Zizi and Lee both mentioned it. We have the training program that's necessary. For me to tell you under these conditions, this is the type of training we need, I would be doing just what I'm criticizing the people in Liberia, some of the people in Liberia from doing. I'm not an expert in fire safety training. I would be a fool to sit here and say, this is the type of training they should do. If that was policing, law enforcement, I know how to answer. Private security, I know how to answer. But for the first responder, you should have a proper person who has the proper fire fighting techniques experience to train them and work on the curriculum. Now, that's what I hope that the legislature or anybody else who's listening will say, you know what? Let's get someone who can set up a curriculum for fire safety fighters. And remember, we don't have too much high-rise buildings in Liberia. The thing that I'm worried about is, for example, the finance ministry, the other buildings that are high up. Where is the escape route that Mr. Lee and Mr. Zizi mentioned? Where's the escape route? What method do they take? How do they get out? Where's the fire escape? Well, will Liberia put fire escape? But then you have to work around a situation like that. And this is from careful planning. This is where minds come together. And you have to get the professional people who can see, who will tell you, no, that one is not correct, even though that man that seems to be your brother, sister, uncle, child, cousin, grandma, pa, and he getting the contract. No, it's not going to work. Because that's what they're doing in Liberia. So no one can tell me otherwise.
Okay. Yeah, and that is a major problem in Liberia. And it's not just about, hiring or appointing proper first responders, emergency response professionals. It has to do with the entire process or system of appointing people to public office. We do not practice what we call meritocracy. It's all about who knows you, who you're comfortable working with. So there's nothing like merit, like certain positions in government, in public service, technical areas. You don't have to appoint people to those crucial places based on partisanship or relationship. It has to be open vetting process. You have to assess people. You have to ask for resumes, interview people. You have to step outside of your comfort zone and hire the right people, appoint the right people to the necessary agencies or bureaucracy, so that we can have the best people leading crucial organizations that the public rely on for their safety and their well-being. Before we,
Sacco?
yeah, before yes,
Mr.
please,
Sacco?
yeah, please continue.
One quick, please, Malik, interject something.
Mhm.
When you mention this type of issue,
Mhm.
30 plus children dies, 30 plus human being children. And this woman stands up with 2 children burning in the fire. Well, some say there was no burn or whatever, but she's in the building with a fire blazing. Now we have to wait the report. But come on, 30 someone, think about it.
That should be a
30
wake-up
someone
call.
children.
That should be a call
I'm
to
just
action.
talking at one school.
Yeah.
Just at one school.
Yeah.
And what happened? Bag of rice and little dollars here and there. Shoot, if that was somewhere else, they would sue them. That person would never operate a school again.
Yeah.
Never operate a school.
And these
some of children. Come on, man.
These incidents should put us on our feet. There should be a wake-up call, especially quite recently, especially what we just witnessed with that precious family, that beautiful family that lost their lives. Like, these things should be a wake-up call for the entire country, especially those in authority, to step up and do something. We don't want to see another incident again where an entire family, just went to bed and woke up dead. This is sad.
Thomas, do you know whether the National Fire Service?
But that's I'm sorry. Quickly. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Do you know whether the National Fire Service has a website?
When I was doing my recent research, I did not stumble upon one, but I want to believe so. I was just citing newspaper, articles on, and some of the reporting was kind of ambiguous, so I didn't want to play with numbers until I really could verify them. But it's something I would need to check out to verify the numbers.
Mr. Sacco, what the legislature should do is contact the architects and electrical the architects of these buildings and see how they can make the building safe. That's what they should do.
Yeah, zoning code and our country is the only place, or one of the few places on earth, where people just build without permits. Before you erect any structure in a country, you need to have a permit. Yes. And in obtaining that permit, you have to pass what we call inspections. And when you should have completed the building project, every year, annually, there needs to be what we call annual inspection. You have to pass, especially public buildings. Like Mr. King was talking about, 30 students dying in one incident. So if the fire safety or whatever bureau that is responsible for that was doing or conducting thorough inspection annually, and fining people for violation of the city ordinance or the building codes or whatever you may call it, we would not be having these kinds of tragic incidents. So it is not, somebody has died today and then everybody goes to the funeral and people are protesting. And then after a few days, everybody go quiet again. No, that's why we use the word proactive. In Liberia, we're just reacting to incidents when they happen, but we're not putting into place mechanisms, prevention strategies, that will help us to not have to worry about responding to too many incidents. Yeah, but we need to really step our game up when it comes to regulation, enforcing the regulation. If you look on our books, we do have regulations for everything. We have zoning codes, but we do not have proper implementation methodologies. We don't implement anything. Yes. Everybody just building. People are building, like you were talking about procuring smaller vehicles for extinguishing fires because we don't even have alleyways. People are just building as they please. There is no authority granting people permits and requiring them to build a house in a certain way so that in future it will be easier for first responders to navigate between those structures. Nothing like that. Anything goes in Liberia. Anything goes, and it's really sad. And that's why one a victim, hopelessly stated, nobody for us. We don't have a government. It's only God that can save us. So we really need to do something about this. To build on that, let's talk about infrastructure improvements. I already talked about it in my commentary. But gentlemen, what can you add on to, I mentioned the installation of fire hydrants, decentralizing the fire department or putting fire departments in every community or township. They should be equipped with their own fire trucks and equipment and trained, and not just one fire department responding to all of the incidents in a city or in a country. What other measures do you think the government can put into place to help curtail some of these incidents?
Yeah, for example.
I'm going to jump in just quickly for others, for my colleagues to talk. We had fire hydrants on Broad Street. We had fire hydrants in Liberia years ago.
Okay.
We had them, and the children used to open it. Sometimes the authorities used to open it to waste water, and you could see the children running around them to get water in the summer, in the hot. So we had fire extinguishers. There's one on Broad Street right now. If you go further up Broad Street, you see them.
But there's
different
not,
places they had them. So I just want people to understand. Yeah, we had them.
Mr. King, there's none in my community of Congo Town Back Row. There's none.
No, you're quite correct. No. I agree with you. I'm not saying that they were all. You're right. I'm not saying there was any. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that we should first start with the caption that there were fire extinguishers in Liberia. Now, how far they went, that's something else. But I don't want someone to come jump up here later on and say this is the first time we have fire extinguisher, fire hydrant in Liberia. Can we lie? So I just want we go from there.
Okay. All right. Thanks for that.
Yeah. So in terms of the infrastructure improvement, one thing we need to do is that, like Colin mentioned, the regulatory body. There should be a law or regulation, making it mandatory for the initiation of standard wires in all places. So people who doing construction, you should have those standards, be inspected. Then you run those then the qualified persons run those wires, those standard wires in places where we use electricity. Then, of course, you need to introduce, construction design to include fire exit in all homes. So henceforth, you have a standard design. People go to inspect. If you are building your home, you start asking where your fire exit, where your fire safety or stuff. So all of those things need to be in the design of homes henceforth. It's something that we should have the political will, and of course, we see the resources to do that. And of course, now and again, the supply and compulsory installation of fire extinguishers in all homes. So fire service, you should have in fire service budget the resources needed to procure all of the things to make it affordable for people to buy them and put them in their homes or the hydrants in alleys and so forth. So that in case of those incidents, while those things are there, then you conduct again the scene initiative or as Carly and Mr. King regularly put it, the fire service or joint fire service, LC and landmarks and energy community engagement, training people. And sometimes too, I observed recently that the community structure, the community leadership structuring should include persons knowledgeable in electricity and also fire prevention. And this person should have a role in detecting power theft. They discover your house is illegally connected, they should report you. You should have an ethics to be trained enough to report you. And these people could be compensated for a little less or less. For example, the district or budget can come through our representative, that social corporate responsibility. Some of the money should go to the community, training people and people on the community board that can train people and send it around to look out people homes to ensure that you don't have lower grade wiring system. You're not doing power theft. And if you are caught, then the punishment should be harsher for that than what it is now. I think, what it is. And so these are measures too that will do your construction. Make sure fire safety measures are there and also fire prevention to the wiring you use. And the government can supply that too and make people, because those things are expensive, subsidized. Those are importing those materials so that it will be affordable that people can buy them and put them in their homes.
Yeah. Conley, you wanted to add up?
Sure. I can add up real quickly. Another thing to fire service needs to do infrastructure-wise, they need to localize fire depot, as you mentioned, Thomas. Localized fire depots have fire hydrants. Also include technology. You have a lot of GSM companies, right? Have smoke detectors in home. The issue we have in Liberia, we have good policy, right? But to implement the policy we have on the book, that's where we're lacking. So the fire service needs to start thinking about technology to enhance the work, to make the work not so complex, right? Have smoke detectors in home. You have them linked to your fire depot that will give you signals. So because sometimes when you sleep, right, Thomas, I mean, you're not awake to know what's going on. But when you have fire alarm that's sounding so loud, and smoke detector, and you have the technology that linking the fire detector with your depot, all right, sending signal, alerting your shift guard, they will be able to respond quicker. So these are things they need to consider. Response time, adequate infrastructure in place to enhance your work. So, I mean, these are some of the things I need to consider. Equally so, you see, in Liberia, most people don't have the purchasing power. So because electrical materials have different grades. You have copper, you have aluminum. Those are the 2 main materials that we have in Liberia. Copper wire is very expensive. right? So a lot of people cannot afford that, right? So that's why the regulatory body needs to come up with standards, right? And the government needs to have a waiver, tax waiver on some of those materials so the people can afford to purchase them, right? So that's how the government come in to help a citizen also. Okay, so you're not just building roads, and no, you have to make materials affordable for the ordinary man to purchase,
Yes.
right? So cost of wire, we have some of the materials, the hardware and things tax free, so that the man can be able to go to the store, purchase it, have a proper wiring system, right, to be able to avoid electrical fires and all of that. So these are things the government needs to consider. These are things the Ministry of Mines and Energy, the Liberia Electricity Regulatory Commission need to consider. So these are things they need to welcome.
I agree. I'm totally in agreement with those points you made. But then, what would you say to policymakers who may be hesitant to prioritize fire safety reforms over other quote unquote pressing issues? What do you say to
Well,
those
Mr. Sako,
policymakers? Yeah.
Mr. Sako, I didn't come into the last round.
Oh, okay,
I
okay.
didn't
Please,
come into
please,
the just
oh, please,
finished here.
oh, please
That's all
follow
right.
up. Please follow up. We can come back to this. Please
Yes,
follow
what
up.
I want to mention, yes,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mr. Lee and Mr. Dizzy, they
Mm-hmm.
mentioned that if necessary,
Mm-hmm.
some amount of payment can go to the community person in charge of the different communities or areas to go around and inspect. No, no. I don't agree with that because
Mm-hmm.
if you are no, I don't agree with the payment aspect, sir. I agree
Okay.
that if you have a person who is a community, what do you call him, community supervisor, in charge
Yeah,
of a community,
community leader
that
or
why he
chairman.
voted, that why he voted, that's why they say they would do this and that, and they would do. That's part of their responsibility. This is the
Mm-hmm.
problem: responsibility and accountability. If you want to be in charge of a community, and you have your people, you become the one in charge of this area, then you must do your job. You must go around and educate. You yourself must be educated. Then go around and begin to talk to the people and get them to understand the role of of the fire safety prevention. I didn't have to pay you for that. That's what you community member for. That's what you community leader for. And you got up there and ran your campaign. You get all your food. You get all your big shots come and support you. Do your job. Don't move it from him. Don't pay him for nothing. Then you will get somebody who has the funds, who has the accountability and the integrity level to become a person in charge of their community. But I think we shooting ourselves in the foot because when you have a person who's a community leader and he always calling conferences and this and that and calling meeting, that's his job. Let him do it. Give him that responsibility. If you can't do it, move on out. Get somebody else to do it. This is what we need in Liberia. You don't have to pay him for something he's supposed to do.
Okay. What about
No
those?
payment.
What about those officials who argue that fire safety, education or awareness or investing in safety awareness is second to other pressing national issues, and also those who argue that Liberia is a poor country, we cannot afford this, we cannot afford that. What do you say to those people?
Let my colleagues go. I
Yeah,
will come in
they should be.
afterward.
Okay, yeah, so I mean, they should be they should be a push to conducting research as Conley and Mr. King said, giving the statistical data and reminding them day after day to prick their conscience that fire safety shouldn't be in the back burner. It should be a priority as others. Okay? Yeah, so for example, you build all your roads, you put up all your buildings and so forth, and you forget about the fire safety measure and keep it in the back burner. One day, all those places will burn down. So those are the kind of awareness and education that should be sounding. I mean, it should quadruple nationwide through jingles, through road shows, through the traditional and now the social media and so forth. So you should use those means of communication to educate our policymaker to start taking that fire safety measure from the back burner to make it on the quadrant of your priority.
I agree. Gentlemen?
Uh, Sometimes I don't know. Our leaders sometimes they forget that they have obligation to the people, especially uh, lawmakers, right? They they gave unto themselves all of the goodies they have. They have policies, carved. I think they purchase carved for themselves every 2 or 3 years. But
Yeah.
when it comes to the people, then they
Mm-hmm.
say there's no money in the budget. The safety of any citizen of any country come first. That's why the president took an oath to protect the people. In protecting the people, it means the people should be safe, the people should be healthy. So the government is under obligation to make sure that our citizens are safe, right? If you
Mm-hmm.
have fire killing your citizens and destroying property, if that is not a primary concern to you as a leader, then I don't know why you consider a primary concern, right? So these are things that should be priority, the lives and safety of your citizens.
Yes. And if when you look at the budget, and I asked that question, just because I've been reviewing, I reviewed the last budget, and I noticed, man, close to, I can say more than 70% recurring expenditures. And like Conley just said, renewing their vehicles. The vehicle is not damaged, but they're renewing it. They want the latest models. Yeah, but safety, health and safety is not a priority. And I always say this, we have our priorities just out of place. We need to set our priorities straight. We need to put our priorities in a correct order as a nation. Because all of the important things, that will benefit the country, the people in general, the government do not prioritize. The government only priority is running the government. And running the government means serving the people. But if you buy all these vehicles, if you pay public officials, you give them all these perks, and they're not delivering, like what my good friend always said, Liberia, the government needs to start working for the people. They're not working for the people. They're just helping themselves to the spoils. It's like a group of bandits just looting. They don't care, and this is really troubling. We need to start advocating for more, for leaders who have conscience, for leaders who have the intention to, or leaders who are intentional about helping people, about doing the right things. Gentlemen, we will have to wrap it up quickly, but I'll leave this open. Any points you have that we haven't covered, please bring it on. Mr.
Uh,
King, is it?
okay, yeah, I would just like to.
Maybe.
The thing, go ahead, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I would just like to
Maybe.
emphasize on this. Oh, okay. Okay, so
I'm sorry, Mr. Sisi. Go ahead. It's okay.
okay, I would just like to emphasize on the power of education and awareness with continuous reminder. Like for example, in 2017, I can remember when the Liberian government was launching for the first time the domestic resource mobilization strategy. That program was held at the City Hall. So the president then, Manaseli, was invited to grace the occasion. One thing she said She said, okay, there was a project initiated by the Liberia Revenue Authority. So she said, if you listen to radio, the Liberia National Revenue Authority, they are full of awareness. Sometimes your ear gets tired. The awareness. Everywhere you turn, you see people using radio, talking about pay your taxes, talking about that. So you see at that level where the person is basic administering the affairs for the betterment of all, but the awareness on key issues that will bring about or that will raise the necessary revenue for national development is on her conscience, because the awareness is continuous and it continues to gnaw at her conscience until the fact that she had to say it and appear like she was aware of it. So I mean, I will leave that as a last hope or a last approach that we use. Continue with the awareness, because I just recently you see that the issue of incident is getting the poor conscience, but to avoid just talking about it, like what we are doing, but yeah, be part of us to, I mean, at every level to start doing some engagements to minimize some of the kind of painful death and destruction of property.
Very, very important. Mr. King? Thank you, Mr. Susan.
No, I have nothing else to say. Nothing else to add.
Mr. Leah, any closing statement?
In the closing, I just hope our leaders, those that are in public office, that are trusted to serve or lead, be able to help the president in transforming the country. We are challenged. I mean, we have a whole lot to do, and we need to do our best, especially those are on the front line. When I say front line, those what I refer to as critical agency, like the fire service and so forth. So we need to do more. We need to be proactive, and, come up with guidelines, safety measures that will help the people. I would like to say thank you for the time. I mean, initially we agreed on 15 minutes, but anyway, that's all right. Thanks, Thomas. I'll be available a little bit busy with a lot of stuff. Hopefully, when I have time, shoot me up and at least 30, 45 minutes. I can come on and share stuff.
Thank you for your insight,
Where are
Mr.
you coming?
I really appreciate it.
I'm in Minnesota.
We're in the same state.
Oh, Minnesota. Okay. I'm in Reston, Virginia.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Of
Hi,
course-
Mr. King. Thanks, Mr. King. Thanks, and
Thank you.
let's keep the torch. Let's keep the torch burning.
Yes,
Okay,
gentlemen.
thank
Thank you so much for your insight and for your input. Yeah, and I agree with you, gentlemen. Our nation, our government, our public officials need to be intentional about working for the people, about serving the people. And how do you know that they're intentional about doing what they ought to be doing? When you look at our budgetary planning, our budget, look at the budget in the overall budget, and look at the amount of money that is allocated for just taking care of the expenses of running the government, paying the officials, taking care of their perks. They are more than what we even put aside for our capital projects, for our long-term developmental initiatives. But when it comes to responding to disasters, emergencies, we want to rely on the NGOs to come and help us. That does not show any seriousness in helping your own people. We need to be serious about these things, gentlemen. This is a time for us to wake up, seeing all these painful deaths. Look, we just lost a very beautiful family. Young children. Look at the images of those babies lying over their mother, their dead mother in a casket. That is a wake-up call for our officials to step up. They can do it. The president can sign an executive order right now, even if the legislature don't want to, allot money for this project, especially start with the fire service. Start localizing the fire depots or departments, or start with something. Lead, Mr. President. Lead, demonstrate that political will that we expect you to be demonstrating as an elder statesman with many years of experience in public service. Do something. We don't want to see any more deaths. This is too much. Okay, gentlemen. So we'll take this one, and then when we come back, I would just wrap it up. But this is really, really disheartening, gentlemen.
Thomas, I beg to leave. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are around the world, and welcome to 1847 Liberty. I'm Thomas Sarko, and together with my co-host Joseph Irene, we bring you insightful analysis and exclusive interviews of thought leaders from Liberia and around the world. Please stay tuned.
So, the rising number of fire incidents in Liberia underscores the urgent need for comprehensive fire safety reform. The government's lack of proactive measures has left citizens exposed and vulnerable. Prioritizing fire safety education, investing in first responder training, and enforcing strict safety regulations are essential steps that must be taken. Immediate action is required to protect citizens and establish safety as a core national value. Leaders must listen and act now, as the nation's well-being depends on decisive intervention. Before we conclude today, let's consider the bigger picture of what this show represents. Imagine Liberia, where citizens have the correct information and resources to hold their leaders accountable, to demand transparency, and to ensure public officials are answerable for their actions. This vision of Liberia isn't just a distant dream, but a potential reality we can collectively work towards. Also, imagine a society where young people enthusiastically use various creative communication tools to channel their anger and frustrations into constructive dialogue and inspiring works of art. Ladies and gentlemen, your support, ideas, and energy are not just valuable, but essential. With your contribution, we can turn this aspiration into a reality. Together, we can make this vision a living, breathing reality in our lifetime. Thank you for being an integral part of this journey. Your participation and support are deeply appreciated. I look forward to our next meeting. Until then, take good care of yourselves and spread kindness wherever you go. I'll see you next time.